What is up, everybody? This is I Know You Didn't Ask, and I'm your host, Megan O'Donnell. We have a lot to discuss today. It's a gloomy Monday here in New Jersey, but we're trying to turn things around. We've brushed our teeth, we've put gel in our hair, we've lit a candle. There's really nothing else that I can really do at this rate of laziness that will make the day get any better. So, if you guys didn't hear my Wendy Osefo deep dive that came out this past week, go check it out wherever you listen to podcasts. And of course, if you guys forgot, I'm on YouTube, babe. So, also check out my video today. I'm wearing a short sleeve turtleneck from Loft. Sale section, of course. You know me, addicted to the sales. So check me out on YouTube at I Know You Didn't Ask Pod, and you'll be able to see shorts there. You'll be able to see full length videos. You'll be able to, again, see the 11 lines on my face. I wish I wasn't so insecure, and now this is all making sense why all these celebrities are consistently getting work done, because you just can't stop staring at yourself and you just start seeing flaws. And I shouldn't say that they're flaws. I would just say signs of aging, which in our society is a flaw. Anyways, I was in New York City this weekend, had a fabulous weekend, just no notes, and I had a life-changing almond croissant. And if you know me, you know I love an almond croissant. Almond croissants to me are always the go-to at a bakery, patisserie, anything. I'm always getting an almond croissant. Coffee shop, doesn't matter. And to me, it's kind of like pizza. It doesn't matter where it's from or who made it. It's always good. And it can be the cheapest, grossest almond croissant, and it's still delicious and brings me joy. It sparks joy. But I had an almond croissant that absolutely changed my life this past weekend at a place called Les Fournils. It's in the East Village, a small little French pastry shop. And I'm telling you, if you guys live in Manhattan, run, do not walk there, because you will be changed. And I had like half of it, and I was, going to go the full Monty and enjoy myself, have a Saturday. And then I decided, be a thoughtful wife. Take yourself out of every equation, Megan, and add your husband back in. So I saved some for him. He also agreed it was one of the best he's ever had. So Les Fournils, check out their almond croissants. When this show was titled I Know You Didn't Ask, I really didn't mean it for that to be so literal, because nobody asked me about an almond croissant in the East Village, but I'm here to tell you anyways. And if you need me to actually write that out for you, shoot me a DM at Megan the Podcaster, and I'll likely get back to you. If again, you know me, if you know, you know. I'm inconsistent, I'm unable to DM people back, but I am trying my best. Anyways, I think we are going to be adopting a kitten this week, so that's also very exciting. We had our kitty die about 2 years ago at this point, so we feel really excited to bring a new kitty into the world. So a lot of kitty talk coming up, a lot of pussy talk. And I'm also seeing, speaking of pussies, I'm also seeing The Lion King on Broadway this weekend with my mom. She surprised me with a matinee, so I'm very excited about that. I think we're going to dine at Bar Preemie near Penn Station before or after, so I just have a lot on my plate. It's only Monday, so I haven't spent, 45 minutes going through the menu at Bar Preemie, but I will, don't worry, and I will report back. So let's just jump right into what the hell's going on. This past weekend, there was a major robbery at the Louvre Museum in Paris. If you guys don't know, I studied abroad in Paris, so I'm basically French. I'm basically Megan in Paris. I just wish the language took. It only took 4 years of private education in college studying French for me to know nothing. I can't even say croissant properly. And I just was going on and on about how much it's my favorite thing to eat. So let's just say this story hits very near and dear to my heart. So there was a massive theft at the Louvre yesterday. So basically these two robbers broke into the second floor of the Louvre using this little truck and a portable ladder that was able to get them access into the second floor, where they basically stole 8 precious items that were all jewels belonging to the French royal family. So they were necklaces, crowns, and it's a massive, massive, massive heist for a museum like the Louvre. So this robbery happened on Sunday, October 19th, within the first 30 minutes of the Louvre being open. And this entire heist from start to finish only took 7 minutes, which tells people out there and tells me, podcasters out there, that this was very much seasoned criminals. Their precision, their speed, they came in, they stole the items, and they got the fuck out of there. At the time that this was happening, of course, there were tons of people at the Louvre. If you've been to the Louvre, you know it's a fucking circus. I honestly don't really like the Louvre, but that's besides the point. It is the most popular museum in the world. And a massive heist happening like this on a Sunday in Paris is just crazy town. So let's dig into a little bit more of what they stole. So they stole truly the most gorgeous pearl necklaces, diamonds, sapphires, pink diamonds, this absolutely insane crown. I mean, this is crazy. And I was reading some comments on Reddit that people were saying, oh, those are fake. Those are fake. They don't put the real ones out in the museum. They don't put the real ones out in the museum. What the fuck are we doing at the museum? Looking at? Like, why are we looking at these replicas? Like, that wouldn't really make sense. So, of course, this heist is happening, and there are people in the museum. So, at this point, the alarms start going off. Security is running to the area where the robbers have, done their damage, and everyday patrons are like, what the fuck is going on? What the hell's happening here? So, they end up evacuating everybody out of the Louvre that day, and the videos are terrifying. And in the world we're living in, unfortunately, where it's like shootings galore, you never know when there's going to be something shot up. So people are running literally for their lives. It's so terrifying. And also, we can't forget about, terrorist attacks, not just shootings, the bigger, scarier things, terrorism. That can also very much be kind of happening. And another layer of kind of fear that people can have at museums are, when these people who are like nonviolent protesters are like, I'm going to slash paint on this Vermeer that's, 500 years old so that people will stop polluting the oceans, which to me, that's like the biggest crock of shit. I'm sorry. Like, two rights don't make a wrong, them polluting the ocean, you defiling this painting. Like, what do you don't get anything from doing that. Yes, you might have eyes looking at your cause because you've defiled the painting. So people are actually going to look at you, the people who are believing in this, important social cause, and think you're a fucking nut job instead of thinking, oh, I agree with them. Let me donate to, clean up Trash Island. That's not going to happen. So the things that can happen in a museum that could be considered a safety threat are, the limit does not exist. So this is really crazy. Obviously, I'm waiting for the Peacock documentary. Like, when is that going to be out, and when can I binge that? Because I need to know more information about what the hell is going on. And we don't have any idea who this is. They have not been caught. There's a lot of unknowns happening at this time. They did seemingly think that the car that they were using that had the electric ladder that got them to go up to the second floor did have a license plate. So that can possibly help investigators get a little bit closer to finding out who actually did this. But hot damn, this is fucking crazy. The jewels are truly insane. Royal emerald necklaces, these massive diamond earrings, a crown that is like bejeweled on every inch. Like, pink diamonds, I didn't even know that existed. I had no idea. I guess because I'm like kind of poor, so that's maybe why, but I don't know. It's interesting because you have to think, what is the motive of taking these items? It's not like you can particularly, go and resell the necklace. You're like going to Sotheby's, like, hi, how much can we auction this, beautiful sapphire and diamond necklace for? And they're like, sir, that was stolen from the Louvre. Like, so you can't really, resell that. You can't flip that jewelry on the market. So you have to wonder why someone would take this, and maybe they'll hold them for ransom, encouraging the French government or the Louvre to pay them a certain amount of money to get the items back. But we really just don't know at this time. I did see some speculation of people saying like, oh, maybe a really wealthy billionaire paid them to do it so that they can have the pieces in their own private mansion. But like, what kind of loser would do that? Who wants to just look at diamond necklaces? Isn't the point of having beautiful jewels to kind of wear them out and to accentuate your outfits? Like, why would it just a random billionaire just be like, I would just love to look at these stolen jewels? I feel like that's a security risk. And I feel like a nanny or a cleaning person in the billionaire's home would eventually just be like talking to their friend at lunch, and it would spill that they have the jewels, and then, the guy would get arrested, But I just thought this was really interesting. Of course, this is ongoing, so we will be keeping you up to date like no other. Stay tuned. to I Know You Didn't Ask, because there's so much more to this French robbery that we will likely be finding out. And of course, the only person we can really rely on to fight this crime, to solve this mystery, is Inspector Clouseau. So please help as soon as possible. And I'm also willing and very available to help out for the case, because not working and did get a job rejection this morning. So that's possibly why the doom and gloom is happening. But that's besides the point. Anyways, let's just speed through a few fun hot topics. And also, when I wrote my outline, I said, let's speed through a few hot topics. I have 9 bullet points for every fucking topic, so I'm not really speeding through anything. So let's just move into the other topics, shall we? So we have to talk about the new Aaron Sorkin sequel to his original The Social Network movie, which is all about Mark Zuckerberg and his colleagues creating Facebook. So Social Reckoning is the sequel to the film that will be released on October 9th, 2026. So we do have a full fucking year to wait, but that is fine. We can be patient. Patience is a virtue. And it just got announced that Jeremy Strong from Succession will be playing Mark Zuckerberg. Supposedly, Jesse Eisenberg, who played Mark Zuckerberg back in the original film, said, I'm Gucci. Like, I don't want to be in this role anymore. I do not want to be associated with Mark Zuckerberg moving forward. And I don't know if it's because of like what Mark Zuckerberg stands for, and we'll kind of get into that, or if it's just because he's like, guy, I was typecasted for a million fucking years because I played Mark Zuckerberg, so I want to take other roles for the duration of my life, so I don't really think I need this role at this time to continue. So we'll never know. I need Eisenberg's POV. I need to get him on the pod. What would we talk about? So Jeremy Strong, he was obviously an incredible performer in Succession, but then he was also nominated for an Oscar, SAG, Golden Globe, and BAFTA for his portrayal as Roy Cohn in the Donald Trump biographical film The Apprentice, which I've never watched, which actually I just put on my list because I've been a movie buff lately. I think we're actually going to be getting into it next week because I've been watching a lot of horror movies lately because it's spooky season, and I just like hate them all. I know, what a great podcast topic. I'm like, I can't wait to tell you guys all the movies I'm watching and that I hate. But I have been finding a new appreciation for film, and I'm going to add The Apprentice to the list. But he supposedly did an incredible job in this role, and, you know, he's a very serious actor. Like, he is like what I think of when I think of like a, you know, actor who's like willing to go method for like 6 to 8 months. I mean, now that it's announced, Jeremy has a full year until the movie is released. They'll probably shoot sometime in the new year. And I do feel like Jeremy at this time is already cosplaying Mark Zuckerberg. You know, he has like the curly little hair. He's definitely like wearing a big chain because that is Mark Zuckerberg's new thing. Like, he's rocking chains, and not like, you know, blinged out diamond chains, but definitely some neckwear, which, you know what? Good for him. I support that, but I feel like everything Mark Zuckerberg does, I see in like a weird lens that I just think is like so nerdy and so lame. I really enjoyed The Social Network when it came out, so I'm really excited to see The Social Reckoning and to see how they portray social media in our current society. As we know, social media is basically poison for our brains, for our children, and has done a lot of good, but it's also done a lot of bad for society, and especially just the way we communicate. As, you know, we see, you know, the rise of incel culture, and we see how people like no longer know how to socialize with one another. Social media can obviously do a lot of good, but it also can do a ton of harm. And I think we see social media very much as like portraying unrealistic standards of people in your life and celebrities, which then creates this kind of comparison, which leads to, you know, feeling jealous and feeling lonely and having low self-esteem or being insecure about your body, like whatever it is. So social media really heightens that in our society. And then also, I mean, Facebook very much so can be like a literal direct cause of spreading serious misinformation, which can, you know, influence public opinion and can have a, I don't know, huge impact on elections. You know, so as much as good as it does, there is a lot of downsides to social media, but that's like everything. There's always the bad with the good. Well, Facebook is a perfect example of how social media can kind of get to a nasty, ugly place. Zuckerberg has been on Mark Zuckerberg has been on trial like many different times for various issues that Facebook has had. whether it's like using and selling personal data for political ads, or tracking people's locations without permission, buying Instagram and WhatsApp, basically kind of like monopolizing social media and ways for people to communicate for free, as well as also just like encouraging, again, as I mentioned, like young kids to feel deeply insecure about their own lives, which can lead to suicide or self-harm because they're feeling so down on who they are in comparison to all of the fabulous people out there in the world who are, portraying this picture perfect life, which is just not real. So I do wonder if like that whole era of Zuckerberg's life will be portrayed on the show in the movie. I mean, I have to assume it will because it's Aaron Sorkin and he's like willing to kind of go there. And I don't think he's going to be like sugarcoating anything for Mark fucking Zuckerberg. So Aaron Sorkin and Jeremy Strong are obviously going to be portraying Mark Zuckerberg as, the tech guru at the head of Facebook, who's, been on trial and has dealt with all the issues that we were just discussing. But I wonder if they're going to be mentioning Zuckerberg's T-Pain era, because that was something that unfortunately is burned into my brain. And so basically, Mark Zuckerberg met his wife Priscilla at a college party when the song Get Low was playing. I guess that was their first dance. And I wonder if that was their first dance at their wedding too. Gotta ask him again when he's on the pod. So he actually ended up making a remix version of Get Low with T-Pain. It's an acoustic version. The song is on Spotify. I couldn't bring myself to listen to the full thing because, again, I do have standards in my life. Like I have to draw the line somewhere in this hobby of podcasting. But it was just shocking to find out that Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla just love Get Low by T-Pain. And I really am hoping that entire arc of Zuckerberg is portrayed in the film, because we saw how Jeremy Strong was able to rap for his dad in Succession. And I feel like those skills need to be reflected in the new Sorkin film. Anyways, let's pivot a little bit to some royal news. I am not like a royal obsessed person. I really don't care about what's going on in the royal family. I don't like wake up at 7 a.m. to watch royal weddings. Like, that's not me. I don't care. I care about the drama, obviously, but everything else I don't care. But I was really excited to find out that Prince Andrew will no longer be holding the title of the Duke of York due to his accusations connecting him to Jeffrey Epstein. He said, quote, in discussion with the king and my immediate and wider family, the wider family is like, bro, what are you doing? We have concluded the continued accusations about me distract from the work of His Majesty and the royal family. I've decided, as I always have, to put my duty to my family and country first. I stand by my decision 5 years ago to stand back from public life. With His Majesty's agreement, we feel like I must go a step further. They're like, bro, you absolutely did it. Now it's really done. 5 years ago, this was just brewing. Now it's done. He said, I will furthermore no longer use my title or the honors which have been conferred upon me. As I've previously said, I vigorously deny the accusations against me. Dude, you are a creepy pedophile who got caught, and you thought because you were a prince and royal that people wouldn't find out, but your dumb, smug little bitch ass took a photo with Virginia Guthrie, R.I.P., don't want to say a goddamn negative word about that sweet angel who is no longer with us, and Ghislaine Maxwell, who's a fucking pedophile freak who I want her to rot in prison, bitch. I don't know what I don't know what just happened to me. I felt like I just turned into Kim D from Real Housewives of New Jersey. But there's the photo of Prince Andrew, Ghislaine, and Virginia together that sealed the motherfucking deal for you, bro. You're an absolute creep, and I'm obsessed with the fact that the king was like, bro, you gotta lose the title. Our reputation's not looking too hot these days with the fucking Meghan Markle nonsense constantly being brought up, with Kate and Will having their drama and bullying, H&M. I was also reading something, and like Kate's going through cancer scares right now, and then there's always cheating rumors about Will, and so there's always drama there. And so he said, you know what? You cut off, Andrew. You're done. We do not want you to even be associated with us because you absolutely did it. And I love that. I just love when people who take advantage of women or men, doesn't matter who you're taking advantage of. I love when rich people who think they can get away with anything don't get away with it and ruin their reputation. Definitely young girls aren't banging him now. That's for damn sure. By choice, I should say. I'm assuming his children hate him. Like, I'm so glad your life is ruined because that's what you get for being a fucking pedophile rapist. Anyways, speaking of Epstein's cronies, another one of Epstein's best buds, Lex Wexler, who, as we know, is the owner of Victoria's Secret, has continued on with the Victoria's Secret fashion show. I will say, I enjoyed the fashion show. I saw some fashion and I liked it. I thought it was fun. It was 50 minutes on Amazon Prime. Easy breezy, beautiful. I thought the ladies looked absolutely gorgeous. I thought the sets were beautiful. I thought the musical performances were fun. I did not watch this in real time. I should say, like, I didn't like pop some popcorn and watch this. I watched like a truncated version on YouTube. Let's not get it twisted, people. But I thought the fashions were cute. I mean, there was a mix of like old school pink or just kind of like their more higher end pieces. Of course, there was many heavy looking sets of wings that various gals were wearing. And it was a good time. You could tell people were having fun. Jasmine Tooks, who is a stunning model who is 9 months pregnant, opened the show and she just looked absolutely magical. Like, she was literally glowing, and she had this like netting on her body with pearls, and she had this giant shell behind her, which, like, maybe we shouldn't give the pregnant woman a big shell to put on her back, but she took it with strides. Clearly wasn't affecting her. I also just kind of like that pearls kind of are a metaphor for pregnancy, so I thought that was like a great touch by the creative director of the show. I will say there were some moments where they were kind of panning back to, like that pale pink and white striped look, creative motif that Victoria's Secret used to have on all of their bags. They're bringing that back, which is really exciting. I saw it all over their website as well. And when I was younger, I would like collect bags from stores, and I think I had like 15 different Victoria's Secrets little pink and white bags. The cutest little accessory. I will say, during my juvenile theft years, I stole a lot from Victoria's Secret. And I didn't know it then, but what I know now is that I actually was making a political statement against Lex Wessler and Jeffrey Epstein. Had I known then, I would have told my mom that. I would have told my mom that when she found a lot of fucking thongs in my drawer and she said, "Where'd you get these? You have no money." And I said, I have no answer because they're stolen. But anyways, the looks were cute, but is anybody really watching Victoria's Secret fashion shows for the looks? I did like go online and check, like, do they sell these things? Like, are these looks for purchase? So most of the basic pieces are, but obviously like the more bespoke, fabulous items are not available for sale, which makes sense because what regular girl needs to be wearing that. And I will say, when I went to Victoria's Secret a couple months ago, looking for some intimates, if you will, I saw just like lots of like black latex outfits. I was really shocked that we were like going that far into kink at VS, but what do I know? It had been a while since I'd been there, and I don't kink shame on this show. So we had so many OG Victoria's Secret girlies: Adriana Lima, Alessandra Ambrosio, who I do have a picture with. I was in the audience for It's On with Alexa Chung. R.I.P. to that fucking great show, and to her career too, but that's besides the point. And Alessandra Ambrosio was the guest, and I got a photo with her, and for whatever reason I thought like wearing like a V-neck heathered gray t-shirt was like appropriate to wear to a TV taping, but I don't know. It's probably American Apparel, and I thought that in itself was really cool. Which, by the way, American Apparel is very much something I need to talk about on Freaky Friday because I watched the Trainwreck documentary about it, and that was really interesting, and so there's a lot to unpack there. That's besides the point. So I will post that photo of me and Alessandra because, close personal friends. And who else? I mean, there were so many OGs: Dutes and Crows, Lily Aldridge, Joan Smalls, Bahati Prinsloo. We all know Bahati, wife of, what's that small dick guy's name? That he wouldn't give me a fucking cigarette outside of Lay Turtle in Manhattan years ago. What the hell's that guy's name? What the hell's that guy's name? Adam Levine. Fucking little small dick Adam Levine. Allegedly small dick Adam Levine. But then we had like a bunch of newbies who are kind of in the world. Gigi Hadid, Bella Hadid, Irina Shayk. She's the girl who is married to Bradley Cooper. Who else is on my little list? Precious Lee, Yasmin Windulum, Stella Maxwell, Emily Ratajkowski. Oof, that last name always is a mouthful for me. Angel Reese, of course, Paloma, Ashley Graham. They're like, look, we have body diversity. It's like, okay, I guess body diversity should technically be, size 10 or higher, but it's Victoria's Secrets. We cannot, fault them. But it was interesting because do you guys remember back in 2021 when our fucking world was on fire and Victoria's Secret said, fuck the angels, fuck hot bitches. We want regular, degular looking girls wearing our bras. We want them in cotton bras, cotton undies, not even a thong. We want our women to get back to who they are at their core, which is the antithesis of Victoria's Secrets and the products and lifestyle that they sell. So they ended up hiring like Megan Rapinoe, Priyanka Chopra, Eileen Gu, Amanda De Cadenet, Abdu Ekchekbior, Valentina Sampaio, and Paloma, who I mentioned earlier, is still an angel. She became a girl from the What Women Want collection and back to being an angel. Now that is a come up. But it is interesting how, like the whole ethos of, Victoria's Secret back in 2021 was like, we're ditching the angels and instead we're going to focus on really successful women who are known for their achievements and not their body proportions. And that's great. I think those women should be celebrated in their everyday life. But it doesn't mean they have to be celebrated by Victoria's Secret or in the Victoria's Secret fashion show, which is hot bitches on a runway. And not to say that those girls aren't beautiful. I don't even know half of them. But when you're expecting the Victoria's Secret fashion show, you might just want hotties who haven't had a bite to eat in 4 months. That's what people are looking for. It's not what I'm looking for. I don't give a fuck about this shit. I'm not going to buy anything from Victoria's Secrets regardless. Unless it's black latex, which I am in the market for. Once I'm employed, I will be buying black latex. Buckle up, Matt. You have no idea what's in store for our sex life. Anyways, but it's just funny that like it was such a 180 that they took to remove the angels and now they brought them back. They said, this is what the people want. This is what is going to get the people going. And they're not wrong. That's what people want. They don't want regular girls on the runway. Not to say that not everybody's beautiful in this world, but I'm sorry, whatever Adriana Lima's doing to be hot is a little bit different than what I'm doing to be hot. And I'm doing, again, basically nothing. I'm basically just brushing my teeth, moisturizing if I remember, and throwing my hair back into a pony and hoping for the best. There were a bunch of musical performances, Miss Yelly, Karol G, Madison Beer twice. Again, like, don't care. They were fun, loved it. But I thought the women, the lighting, the stage, the vibe, the makeup, even the hair was very kind of like old school, big, beautiful blowouts. Like, it was definitely a vibe. I'm a feminist through and through. Anti-Lex Wexler, as we know, as I've made it very fucking clear, but I enjoyed it as a piece of entertainment, and that is what we want, right? This is entertainment, this podcast is entertainment, we all just want to be entertained. Are you not entertained? What movie is that from? I don't remember. Again, I'm a huge film buff, but I'll get back to you guys on what that one was from. Sparta? This is Sparta? It doesn't matter. I've been a little too nice. Too nice about this because we did have Miss Bella Hadid end the show. The fact that it was Lily Aldridge, Alessandra Ambrosio, Adriana Lima, and then it ends with Bella Hadid? Am I the only one like missing something? I think she's a beautiful model. But closing the show? I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but like Bella Hadid is not that bitch for me. Again, beautiful model. Great job. But the fact that she's closing the Victoria's Secret fashion show is bizarro to me. To me, she doesn't exude VS. If anything, her sister Gigi does. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Gigi was 7 people before Bella in the closing walk. That's shocking to me. And I don't know. I don't know what that's about because it's a little suspect. Like, why are they picking Bella Hadid? She kind of has a more edgier look, and I've always found her to take on more edgy brands, whereas Gigi's like, Tommy Hilfiger. Guess. Like, she has that like all American energy as a model, which I think is very much in line with the Victoria's Secret's brand identity. So I was just very interested to see that Bella Hadid was able to, get out of bed from her, dialysis that she's getting to do this fashion show because, as we all know, Bella is suffering from chronic Lyme, which is, unfortunately, like not proven by the medical community. Lyme disease is obviously a true and real thing, and I think we saw this through Yolanda, her mother's lens, on Beverly Hills Housewives, where the women were kind of implying that there was some Munchhausens, little munchy Hadids, and they were kind of doubting some of the medical issues that these ladies have because those medical issues lead to them getting some attention maybe for those issues. So it's interesting when Bella, a week and a half ago is posting like pictures of her like needled up, like literally there's one picture of her like crouched down in like the corner of an elevator, and like, who's photographing you? Where are you going? What are you doing on the floor? You're grown. It's dirty. What's happening here? And there was like a million other videos and photos of her struggling, and then literally 2-3 weeks later she's bronze, looking like a goddess on the runway with her feathers behind her. And so it's just interesting when you see like, okay, so you're going to post all these sick pictures of yourself, but you still can make it work for the fashion show. Again, it's not like she needs the money. She doesn't need the recognition. She's mega, mega, mega successful. She has 61 million fucking followers. Doing this show or not doing the show is not going to move the fucking needle on her reputation or her fucking brand. So I just thought that was interesting. I don't know. I don't have any chronic illnesses, and I'm, knock on wood, so grateful for that. So I don't know the struggle that she's going through, but I just have always found that very interesting. You're sick until, you need to put on your wings, to strap on the wings and get going. I will say it did look like she was struggling a little bit with those wings. At certain moments, she was like holding her little straps. She said they were like 40 pounds. So that's like why she looked so uncomfortable. But even that, I don't know. I feel like I would have told the production people at Victoria's Secret, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to wear the big fucking wings. But maybe they said, then you can't close the show. I don't know what the situation is. But I'm going to keep my comments to myself because I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get fucking DMs for even just implying that she could ever possibly be begging for attention by posting pictures like she is posting. Okay, let's pivot a little bit to new Netflix doc called The Perfect Neighbor, which is about this weird, miserable bitch who lives in Florida, of course, and she lives in a neighborhood where there are tons of kids. Kids are always playing football, kids are out and about, kids are on the lawns, kids are everywhere. I should also mention, kids are black, kids are white, kids are mixed. But race, of course, has something to do with this. So this miserable bitch is like the grumpy lady in the neighborhood, constantly calling the cops on the kids, who are literally just playing. And like, you see all this police footage, which is basically the entire film is police footage, whether it's on the ground or police footage of them interviewing the various people in the police station. And you see these cops who are actually so good with the children, and they like come and talk to the kids, and they talk to the lady, and they're like, ma'am, like, it's kind of like kids will be kids, and it's better that kids are like playing outside on their bikes and playing football instead of like sitting on TikTok scrolling inappropriate shit. Like, maybe we could just like be happy that like kids are trying to be kids and having fun. And basically this lady's not having it. And I'm not going to spoil the rest of the documentary for you, but I will say, seeing how this woman treats these children and treats the mother of these children is absolutely fucking deplorable. I don't want to get too deep into it because it just came out, and I don't want to completely ruin the end of the documentary, but It's just sad that kids and families now need to be very, very worried about their neighbors, um, who might have firearms in their homes and can just shoot them off willy nilly. And of course, their defense is it was self defense. Um, I'm just going to leave that there. So definitely check out Perfect Neighbor on Netflix. It's like an hour and 40 minutes, so you'll be able to get through it quickly. But let's just jump into love, people. As you know, I'm newly married, so I know a lot about love. I am full of it, full of love. And we have to talk about some fabulous new budding relationships as well as some unfortunate failing relationships. Back in July, we talked about Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau dining together, and now they were spotted on a gorgeous boat off the coast of Santa Barbara last week, where they were looking cozy and affectionate. I'm very happy for her. I completely support this because go off, Katy. You had a rough year. You divorced, you went to space, your tour tanked. Everybody's making fun of you. So why not get with a former prime minister? I think that's a really good strategy for her. And I will say I was on, online just trying to find some information, and I was on this Fox Business article that said, quote, marine expert breaks down Katy Perry's yacht choice after Justin Trudeau's sighting reports. And it's this whole fucking article about this dude who's a boat expert. Marine expert. And he's talking about the boat that they were on. And he said it was a, quote, extremely tasteful pick from Katy and Justin for this yacht ride. And so I'm just so happy that they're making tasteful picks, for boats. So I'm just so happy that, Katy at least has that win. She made a tasteful choice for, the yacht that they sailed around on the Pacific. And go off, Katy. Get dick or die trying. Am I right? Get him. Whew. Okay, so speaking of Katy Perry's ex, I didn't even think of that in this outline. I'm literally doing the Lord's work. I'm so good at this. Transitions just come natural. So John Mayer and Kat Stickler have been seen on a date 2 different times. And so let me rewind a little bit. John Mayer, we all know him. Fabulous singer-songwriter. I literally cannot forget the first moment I heard Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. Incredible song. But Kat Stickler is a social media girly, and you guys might remember her from a really cringy video that came up a million years ago that went completely viral, where her now ex-husband Mike was filming her and basically was catching her when she's in the bathroom putting her makeup on, and he says to her babe, let's go shopping. And she's like, no, I can't, we have the kid. He goes, I got a babysitter, they're gonna be here in 30 minutes. And she's like, oh. And she's still doing her makeup, and then he's like, why don't we go to Home Goods? And she stops, and he's like, and Target? And she looks at him, and he goes, and then we can get pedicures and go to brunch and get pancakes and and do this and this and this and this, and the babysitter's gonna be here, so get ready. And it was really cute, honestly. It's just, who doesn't want to go to Target? Who doesn't want to go to Home Goods? Who doesn't want to get a pedicure? Just basic things in life that make us basic bitches happy. So that video kind of was her takeoff on the internet. She was a family vlogger with her and the husband, and then they broke up, and then so now she's just, a beautiful girly on the internet. She dated Bachelor Nation guy Jason Tartick for a minute, and they are no longer together, and so she's single as a Pringle. And supposedly, they've been seen twice in New York City in the past few days. So they were seen at one private members club that they don't mention, and then they were seen at another private members club called Flyfish, which I did a private members club episode a couple months ago. So hit me up if you want me to send you the link to that episode, where I dig through a bunch of New York City private clubs because it's just so fascinating to me. But I don't even recall if I talked about Flyfish because I have the memory of a goldfish. And we were talking about how these exclusive clubs are, mainly so that, people of high status can go on dates, see people, have fun, and be in a private environment. Of course, these private clubs aren't ironclad, so people took some photos of the two of them hanging out together. Supposedly John was drinking a Coke Zero. Very interesting. And they've just been seen hobnobbing together. But Flyfish was very interesting to me because I went on to the website, of course. I can't help myself. It's in Manhattan on Houston Street, but you need to get a NFT, a non-fungible token, that is linked to blockchain to become a member of this club. So automatically I'm out. You lose me at NFT, you lose me at blockchain, and you also lose me at the pricing of how to get in. But it can't be that elite because the pricing was and all of the membership information was just like right there on their website, and no like high-end social club would just like have their prices out there so easily accessible to the poors like me. I don't know who's a member there. I'm guessing it's Sean Mayer because if you listen to my Sheena Shea episode a few months ago, we were talking about how Sheena met John Mayer at the cigar club that she was a cocktail waitress at. So he's clearly in all of these private social clubs, which makes sense. He's literally an A-lister. So, I mean, this is all very interesting. I mean, I've been saying that I've been thinking John Mayer and Andy Cohen have had a secret relationship for years. So, as somebody who's been saying that for years, I have, I guess I just have to eat some humble pie and accept the fact that I might be wrong. And that's okay. I can accept when I'm wrong, unlike the politicians that we see on television every day. But it seems like Kat is friends with a girl whose husband works at Flyfish. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with them linking up. But who knows? But I'm happy for both of them. Kat Stickler, if you fucking nail down John Mayer, you take your fame that you got from dating a guy from The Bachelor and you times that by 1,000,000. Good for you, Kat. And as I mentioned before, get dick or die trying. Oh, I shouldn't even have said that if I'm leading into this fucking bit, but Mauricio Omansky, husband of Beverly Hills housewife Kyle Richards, likes him young. We know this. We know this, people. But unfortunately, things took a turn this past weekend for him because he's been spotted with Andreina, Iris, and Andrea from Love Island. All girls in their early 20s. He was hanging out with them this past weekend. We have no information, but we just see him in the background, looking like their chaperone. It looks like the dad who had to go to the concert with 3 hot young daughters. It's embarrassing. And, he's always making the rounds. We know this. He showed up in the Real Housewives of Potomac trailer, potentially flirting with Giselle. So this guy is willing to stick his dick anywhere except for his wife. And I gotta say, I don't hate the hustle. Good for you. I guess, if you're happy. I don't know if Kyle's happy, but I don't know if Kyle knows when she's happy or when she's sad. I don't know if Kyle even knows that about herself to understand, what makes her happy. I think she's a little confused, if you get what I mean. Let's keep seeing where Mauricio's going, and let's see if Iris and him start dating. Because Pepe kind of looks like a younger version of Mauricio. So maybe that's her type. Okay, we have to talk about some breakups, people. First and foremost, Lori Loughlin and Massimo Giannulli. I've been loving their relationship for 28 whole years, and the two of them are breaking up. Aunt Becky is back on the market. Maybe her and Stamos will reconnect, and we can see another, Greek wedding of theirs on the new version of Full House. But seems like Massimo was cheating, and that's sad, because nobody wants to be cheated on after 28 years. Come on, guy. Of course, they have a bunch of daughters, and these two became famous, as we all know, because of the Varsity Blues admission scandal, where basically the two of them agreed to pay $500,000 to a guy who would help their daughters scam their way into getting into University of Southern California. So it's kind of clear that the two of them couldn't make it through the scandal. And you know what? Just end it. That was in 2019. It's been 6 years since then. I'm imagining, you quite literally were thick as thieves for as long as humanly possible, but you just can't have it anymore. And, they'll both be fine. Massimo is a successful fashion designer, and Lori's a famous actress who's also stooping to the level of being in Christmas movies that are on Great American Family, which is the Great American Family, aka No Fucking Gays, network for your holiday, viewing pleasure. So, interesting choice, Lori. That's all I'm going to say. Interesting choice. We all need money. And maybe in the divorce, she's not getting as much as she thought she was. So she said, I'm going to take money from a channel that can obviously just not accept the fact that the American family doesn't exactly look like it did in 1950. And for good reason. But what I'm really devastated about in terms of divorce news, you can never have budding love stories without the divorce stories. So everybody knows at this point, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban are officially divorced. RIP to what was a fabulous marriage, I believe, between the two of them. They always kind of seemed very into each other. I felt their sexual energy through photos, so you gotta wonder what this is about. Again, we'll find out eventually, But Nicole Kidman has already been through the ringer with her divorce with Tom Cruise. So she knows what she's doing at this point. She's like, oh, I got this divorce thing down pat. Like, we're good. Like, I'm fine. I will say, I did get word that her AMC intro video will be being phased out. And as someone who has clapped for that in many a film, I am devastated. I'm devastated because her, message is poignant in that ad, basically saying, there's nothing better than sitting back with some popcorn, looking at the silver screen, and enjoying some storytelling, some quality storytelling. And I love that message. She did show off some new bangs at Chanel's fashion show in Paris a couple of weeks ago, which does track. Bangs and breakups do go hand in hand. But again, if you know me, you know I'm constantly screaming to nobody about Nicole Kidman's wigs. And I've had problems with them in the past, and I think I'll continue having problems with them. But I have to say the bangs looked really cute. So let's stick with the bangs. Let's drop the wigs. We don't need them. We don't need them. And as I mentioned up front, I am a cinephile. I cannot get enough of films. And we did watch Eyes Wide Shut a couple weeks ago, and Matt had never seen it before. And I have to say, like, that bitch cannot get out a paragraph without it taking 45 minutes. And, like, these breathy, sexy words. And, like, the whole time I was thinking about her divorce with Keith Urban, I'm like, oh, like, imagine she was, like, being breathy like that to him. Like, Keith, I can't stand your stupid haircut. And I know that's rich coming from me. Like, I literally, like, it was like 6 words would take 40 seconds. We live in the time where our brains, like, need fast consumption. Even, like, in TikTok, it's like, if you don't capture someone within the first 2 seconds, sayonara, they're gone. It's true. Like, you gotta speed it up. So, I mean, Kubrick was creating films at a different time. Kubrick is rolling in his grave right now because of the rise of TikTok and what that has done to feature films. But R.I.P. to Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, Lori Loughlin and Massimo Giannulli. Love is not dead. You will all bounce back. Massimo, you probably already have. So let's not move too quick. Give Lori a moment to, be upset about this reality in her life. Anyways, let's just quickly jump through a couple of random little Bravo things that have kind of been tickling me. We all know Brittany Cartwright from The Valley. She had a mommy makeover and, blasted her belly fat and got rid of Jax's big tits he bought her. So I'm so happy for her. I feel like that was probably like her last thing that she had tethered to him or tethered to her. Whatever. But I'm happy for her. Do what you need to do to feel good about yourself and your body. Who gives a shit what people say? She was clearly kind of struggling with her self-image for a while, so do what you gotta do. There was a video of Lala Kent's daughter, Ocean, calling her stepsister Riley a bitch. And I don't know, but there was like something that tickled me about a 4-year-old calling her stepsister a bitch. I don't know. And you could see like little girls like doing like a fake little makeup thing. And she just, calls her sister a bitch. And, Lala, like, turns around. She's like, where did you learn that? Where'd you hear that? I heard it at Dad's house. Da, da, da. So, Lala did put this video out to the world, which is kind of odd. You'd think you would not put your daughter in a place where idiot podcasters like myself could talk about her foul mouth. Just kidding. But, it's also showing, like, Randall in the house is probably not keeping a clean mouth. He probably needs to be watching some Great American Family content because he needs to understand what family is, which I don't think he's aware of. Definitely not. We have Meredith Marks from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. This was just a little one-liner that I had, but her website URL is just rumorsandnastiness.com. And now that's some branding that I can get behind. I absolutely love that, and great season of Salt Lake City so far. I'm like an episode behind, I think, but I always catch up. I always do. We also have Kim Zolciak. Queen Zolciak, she has a new boyfriend, seemingly a new Big Papa, who obviously is in a very contentious divorce with a woman named Jill, and her new guy, Kyle Mowitz, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, is a CEO of a company called Imperium Blue, based in Atlanta. It's a multi-family office that was created in 2007 to compound wealth over multiple generations through private investments. Kim is going to suck this man dry through his penis. But she's going to absolutely suck this man dry, and he's going through a very contentious divorce, as I mentioned. And Kim is now going to be subpoenaed as a part of the man's divorce battle because I guess the ex-wife is basically like, he's been buying her ass presents and he's been texting her and emailing her things that are inappropriate. And I guess this motherfucker, shady motherfucker, Big Papa-esque behavior, is trying to hide a bunch of assets in this divorce. So Kim is probably the benefactor of some lavish gifts. So the ex-wife is like, I'm gonna need you to start going through her phone records and going through that closet because we all know Kim's been having to sell things, shill things. So maybe she has some new items that haven't been posted on Poshmark yet that the investigators can tell were a gift from her new man's. There are photos of them together. There's photos of him with her child. So he's clearly in the mix in their family. So, I mean, good for you, Kim, but also Kyle. Run. Run as fast as you fucking can because this will not end well. This will not end well for you, Kyle. There was also a moment that interests me because I guess the ex-wife, Jill, was contacted by Croy Bierman, warning her about Kim Zolciak, basically saying she has a gambling addiction and she will absolutely drain Kyle financially. And interesting that that's being brought up in the lawsuit too. Croy is like, excuse me, I need to be included because nobody fucking believed me when I was saying for years that this bitch was like a psycho gambling freak. But I'm warning this lady to let her know that some of her divorce payout could possibly be squandered by Kim fucking Zolciak. So very interesting, very messy as per usual with the Zolciak Biermans. As I mentioned last week, Ariana Bierman, my soul sister, my queen, is going through her breakup of her own. I was going to put this in the Love is Dead category that I just did, but I decided she's too young to not believe in love. And she's still living in Manhattan. She moved out of the apartment with Hudson, and her and Riley Burris are moving in together, which I absolutely love. I feel like young girls need to just like live together and have fun and don't live with your boyfriends too young because you have literally the whole rest of your life to live with a guy and deal with the fucking joys of that. But so happy for them. Single girly era in New York City is literally the best and what unfortunately I crave so much as a early 30s girly. It is confirmed that they are shooting NYC prep. Ugh, I always fucking do that. I did not mean to say NYC prep. I meant to say next gen NYC. I cannot tell you how many times I've gotten that wrong, but besides the point, Next Gen NYC is going to be picking up cameras very soon, and it is confirmed that Charlie is coming back. He is my king. I actually tried to get into the box this weekend, again, when we were pretending to be young. Didn't work. And a younger me would have cursed out the bouncer, started a fight, but instead we just walked away. We said, let them. Let them only let in hot nepo babies and crypto psychos. By the way, listen to my crypto episode if you want a really fucking great episode to listen to. But anyways, this week I'm tuning into Kevin Federline's book. I'm sorry. The book You Thought You Knew, his new memoir, comes out tomorrow, Tuesday, October 21st. So I might listen to the audiobook, but like I don't want to hear him speak. Like, what are my options? But he's a fucking mooch who's constantly been using her to pay his bills and exploiting her. But also, like, is she exploiting her kids? Duh. You know, is she a little nutty? Yeah. Was the conservatorship probably good? Probably. But I will be tuning into that book because I'm a rubbernecker. You know what I mean? Like, I like to see the car crash. I can't help myself. So this Friday's episode will be wedding do's and don'ts, which I'll also be talking a lot about like pop culture weddings as well as like influencer weddings. We have to talk about We Wore What's engagement party that came out this past weekend. It's at a place called the Alder Mansion in Yonkers, which I like randomly went to a sex themed party there 1 million years ago. So we'll be getting into that sex fueled saga in my really wholesome wedding episode. I don't know. That was before I knew Matt. He would not like that version of me. And honestly, that night was weird, and I didn't really like my version of myself either. But that's besides the point. So tune into Friday's episode if you're interested in all kind of like nonsense weddingy things. I'll be, of course, talking about my own wedding and all the fun things that happened and all the good things that come with weddings, as well as the really shitty, annoying, fucking bad, expensive shit that come with weddings. Also, make sure you check out my Wendy Osefo episode that came out last week. Really great, like 45-minute episode about what the hell's going on with her and Eddie. And, you know, it'll give you the TLDR on what the fuck's up. She did speak up yesterday, basically saying, like, God is good and God will never judge me or whatever. And it's like, I don't think we should be bringing God into this because I feel like God is like, Wendy, I've been watching you strategize and do shady things for a while now. I'm not on your side. Like, God's like, even I'm not touching this shit with a 10-foot pole. So thank you so much for listening to I Know You Didn't Ask. I so appreciate it. If you want to follow me on social media, follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Megan the Podcaster. And on YouTube, you can find me at I Know You Didn't Ask Pod, where you can find the long form videos, the video shorts, and whatever else I decide to come out with. So thank you so much and have a great rest of your week. Bye.